Thank you so much for letting me speak to you guys and ladies. Just before we start, how many in the audience is actually working for IT? Just raise your hand, please. Almost everybody, so great. I'm actually working for IT as well. And today I'm going to be talking about something called Internet Security Threat Report. Is there in the audience anybody, by any chance, who have already read the report? Great. So I'm here to tell you some new stuff, perhaps. And the thing why we do this research is that, well, you see, in the last 10 years, the whole security portfolio and the whole security posture we see at the moment is changing. So, me, MARKKU SUISTOLA, I'm working as a technical specialist in Symantec, Finland, covering also the Baltic countries. And what is striking for me is that for the last 10 years, the whole IT systems, the whole thing we are trying to protect that is changing dramatically. And what is even more striking is that we need to develop. In many organizations, we are still protecting ourselves like we did 10 years ago. So how many of you guys are protecting your system with antivirus? Just raise your hand. How many of you have firewalls in place? So great. So the stuff we were preaching 10 years ago is now reality in every organization. So I bet there's no organization in the world who would leave their servers without a firewall, and there's no single instance of organization who would leave their endpoints without any protection like antivirus. But what is striking for me as well is that there's something new happening, something we haven't really seen before, and then that is the commercialization of also the threats landscape. So you see, it's all based on something we don't know. It's easy to tackle something you know, but at some points, the unknowns becomes the relevant part of the security. So what we discovered when we were writing the latest issue of this Internet Security Threat Report was that there are a huge amount of new vulnerabilities that are discovered every year. And especially bad are the ones that could be said or could be described as zero-day vulnerabilities. So in last year, there were 14 zero-day vulnerabilities, meaning that there was no cure, no patch, nothing that would prevent the attacker, the intruder, to use that vulnerability. It was really nice to hear Markus presenting the vulnerability stuff, and he did a great job. And I'm not going to steal his show, but it's critical to understand that every security threat at the moment starts with some sort of a vulnerability. Even worse is that, well, it's not just the PCs that are infected. It's also about the mobility side. So in mobile side, if you use iOS, you're pretty safe because, at least to our organization studies, there's not so many exploits at the moment in the iOS world. But if you're using Android, well, guys, you need to think differently. In the Android world, every other application is considered to be some sort of malicious. And 32% of all the mobile threats actually steal information. And what is even worse is that we store everything into our mobile phones. So I'm always saying to my customers and partners that, well, what is the most private thing you own? And some guys are saying, well, it's my toothbrush. And some other guys are saying, it's my mobile phone. But guess what? There's two striking differences between these two things. I'm not carrying my toothbrush into my meeting. I'm not carrying my toothbrush into this conference center. And actually, I have mobile phone in my pocket. So if you think about the capabilities we have in those mobile phones, being able to listen, videotape, to do whatever. It's really amazing to think about that, what can be done with mobile devices. And there's the third world, as I said, the Macs. How many of you in this room has actually Mac as a working machine? Anybody? One or two brave people. I hope you guys are carrying also antivirus at least, and some sort of malicious protection in your Macs. Because last year we discovered that even though there is I agree, there's a small amount of malicious activity that is targeted against the Macs, but whenever that happens, like for instance, this single threat infected 600,000 Mac machines globally. So whatever happens, something really breaks in. So we think at Symantec that Macs should be protected as well. So we think that as Macs become more popular, so does also increase the security risks. There's something else. Believe me or not, but the number of spam is actually decreasing. Why? Why is that? Why is the number of spam decreasing? I mean, we security vendors, we always say that the trend is always just up and up and up. And once you are up on the hill, it goes up. But that is not the case with spam. The case is that spam is becoming to be less attractive for somebody who is trying to make money and somebody who is trying to kind of produce something out of the spam. So they're moving ahead to social media, they're moving ahead to do something totally different. So I want to raise one of the findings we found out while producing this report is the watering hole attacks. Has somebody actually heard about watering hole attacks before? Or ransomware? Great stuff. I have again, something new to tell you guys, perhaps. Because what we think is that you should not blindly believe that the web server you always have been using is a safe one. Because the attackers, the intruders, they always pick up the easiest way to get into the information you want to protect. And what we are saying is that when we are seeing that half of the world's web servers or servers overall are not protected properly or have some vulnerabilities, there's a problem ahead. And if you think about this fact is that half of them have vulnerabilities. The other fact is that every fourth of those sites running on those servers has actually critical vulnerabilities on them, meaning that any attacker whatsoever can actually use them to create them something as a watering hole. I'm going to explain you shortly what watering hole actually means, but it means that anybody using those web servers can be a target. And this is bad. It's really bad. If you think about the world in the eyes of the intruder, well, what the intruder might be doing is actually at the moment, as we speak here, as we spend a day with you guys, he's actually profiling us. He's profiling you based on your hobbies, based on something you do, not perhaps on your work life, but beyond that. And he's using that to create the matrix that how should he use these social media sites to infect you. And his job is only to find a suitable web server with the vulnerability. That shouldn't be too hard, because every fourth of the servers has critical vulnerabilities, right? That is not so hard to do. Now he infects that web server, not perhaps with the malicious code itself, but he creates kind of a redirection, or adds an ad that redirects that HTTP request to another site that actually hosts that malicious code that is actually in full control of his. Now this original site becomes kind of a watering hole trap, like for animals who are seeking water in the desert. So they desperately want to go there. They want to flock around that site. They need the water, like you guys need. You need to go to your hobby site. And all of a sudden, what happens is that you became infected. by just visiting the normal site you used to do. So I'm not saying that porn or anything else is safe. What I'm saying is that the adult entertainment is not anymore the main source for infections. Actually, the main source for infections is the hobby sites. Hobby sites, like knitting or making boats or whatever. And what is the aim? What could be the thing they actually try to infect you with? That's the ransomware. So what is usually happening is that they give you something. In our example, we call this a police virus, kind of ransomware which takes your machine as a hostage. It tells you that, well, and these are pretty cleverly built so that they are charging you for some criminal activities, like, for example, you have been watching illegal sites. They are accusing you for something that can happen or put you in a jail for 4 to 8 years even. And they're saying that you can kind of get off the hook by paying some money. And it's not just you, it can actually be one of your friends, or it can be your children or your spouse or whatever. The thing here is that they are actually building these attacks so that some of us, not perhaps in this room, but some of us will actually fall into the trap and will pay money. And when you start dealing with the criminals, you know, they probably not stop after you pay the first sum of money. The blackmail can actually go on for months or even years. And when you have start paying, perhaps they get a foot off you. And then you guys, who are the security experts in your organization, you need to understand that those guys, they are the weakest link of the chain. So they can be used for some other purposes, like giving information or granting access or whatever. So we need to be careful about what we do with ransomware, and it needs to be taken seriously. So that's why we also sometimes say that please, 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 guys, protect the home pieces as well, because that's quite easy. So what is the good recipe for good IT strategy? Because we need to develop something that is balanced. So our message for you guys is that you should kind of balance between operational efficiency, like when you are outsourcing or out-tasking your services. You need to maintain the balance between risk and gain. That's what you need to do. So we can help you with both. So our message is that you should create kind of a blueprint for your organization, and this is how we can help. We can protect the information. The first layer of protection from Symantec is really on IT infrastructure. It's really there when you need it. It's providing the basic level of security. It's providing the endpoint protection. It's providing the backup and archiving. It's doing the storage management. It's doing the availability of the services. It's improving the resiliency. The second level of intelligence, what we do, is regarding information intelligence, understanding what you have so you can actually do some protection on it. And the third level of protection, what we do is that we create you with information governance model. So our products, that are, by the way, most of them are software products, are there to help you get to the third level of protection. Not just that you have something, but you understand what you have, and also you can actually govern and guide your customers and your partners and your end users towards the common goal, that is to make whatever your organization make. What is the GIN? What is the Global Intelligence Network I was mentioning? That is one of the key assets Symantec has in our organization that is there helping us to protect our customers. You see, we have over 200 million Norton users, and all of them are actually, 99% of our Norton users are actually sending us feedback on what they see in the internet. They post us what applications they use. They post us what security risks they see. So we know what's going on. If you count on top of that all of the corporate users, we pretty much see what's going on there. And we provide that information to our customers. I think that the biggest advantage Symantec actually can do in order to help you is to foresee. We can foresee some activities. We can start protecting. We can aim to protect even before the hit actually or the problem starts. So what can you guys do? Clearly, it's not just us that are doing this job. There's something we need to do commonly. There's something we need to do together. And I think, I do honestly believe that every endpoint needs to be protected. But it's not just antivirus anymore that is enough. You see, those zero-day attacks, antivirus will never block them. They will pass like an hot iron into butter, if you allow me to say so. So you need to protect your endpoints and use as wide detection capabilities as possible. I would even say that please consider something we call reputation-based security. So only trust those applications you know that are good. And use personal firewalls. And then the other part. There are things that cannot be done with endpoint protection. That is the patch management side. So you still need to patch those servers and those endpoints. You need to patch them, and not just the operating system. You should be patching the third-party applications like browsers, Java, Flash, whatever. And also, please, please, please include the Macs inside of your management controls and security. That is great on security side. Also great would be to frequently back up all of that information you are trying to use in your business or with your organization. And protect that with unique, hard-to-guess passwords that should be different on each and every web server. And this goes beyond just this group of people. This goes actually towards the fact that we need to educate our users. I didn't understand all the words that were in the board, but I really saw something I really liked. That was the use of the shared organization, and that was the use of educating the end users. Thank you so much for your attention, and Symantec will be downstairs on the booth, and Symantec will host 2 additional sessions in this room just after lunch. Thank you very much.